Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video. Wife is planning to leave me / has left me for my best friend, and they've already started trying to get pregnant. At this point, I suppose I should refer to him as my former best friend, but it's difficult to comprehend that it's all gone so quickly. You spend years with someone, creating a connection, and then it all crumbles. I'd known him since high school, around 15 years. To me, he was like a brother, and to my parents, he was like a son. We used to spend a lot of time at each other's homes when we were younger. He was usually accompanying my family on excursions, and I did the same for his. We've accomplished so much together. I would have been the best man at his wedding if he had been the best man at mine. Many vacations and evenings out were spent together. We often assisted one another. There were several chats about life, love, and ourselves. He was always my go-to guy when I was in a jam and needed guidance. It's difficult to put into words how much I miss him because, whatever else he was always there for me when I needed him and a reliable source of guidance. He used to be a real buddy until he wasn't. Losing him may be as devastating as losing my wife. My wife and I have been married for about 5 years, although we've been together for 7. I recall the first time we met. It was love at first sight. She was stunning, with these piercing blue eyes and an irresistible laugh. We hit it off, and to my amazement, she agreed when I asked her out, despite the fact that she was much out of my league. As we got to know one another, I became even more in love with her. She was filled with zeal for life and a desire to assist others. She was very nice and kind to everyone, and she was just a genuinely lovely person, which made me adore her even more. I enjoyed being married to her, and I always thought our marriage was fantastic, not just nice. I was not one of those spouses who gave up on himself. I looked after myself and ate healthily. I was able to recall all of our anniversaries and significant days. I listened and paid attention when she spoke to me. I was really interested in her life because I cared about her, but I also gave her space and avoided being too needy or clingy. I made certain that I did my share around the home. I performed as much cleaning as she did. As far as I could tell, our life was fantastic. I tried my hardest to love and care for her in the manner that a spouse should, and to show her how much she was loved. I made every effort to continue dating her after we married. I can state unequivocally that I never took her for granted. I'm not sure what more I could have done. I've asked myself that question several times, and I still don't know. I'm wondering whether I went overboard. Is she thinking I'm too much of a softie? Did she not value me? I'm not claiming that our marriage was flawless. We had disagreements, but they were never significant. My closest friend's breakup with his girlfriend sparked the problem. He was irritated and took it personally. I chatted to him, but one day my wife asked would I mind if she went out for coffee with him to discuss and offer him a woman's perspective / opinion. That was great with me, I informed her. My dearest buddy and she were also buddies. We'd gone on couples excursions with my buddy and his girlfriend, and she'd spent a lot of time with him since he was always around me. I didn't think much of it, since their connection never appeared out of place. When we initially began dating and when I married her, Dad did mention I was fortunate and she was pretty, but there were no inappropriate comments or anything like that. My wife may have mentioned he was attractive at one time, but that was all. I didn't notice any red flags, and after thinking about it some more, I still don't see any. I never saw anything that led me to believe they were anything more than buddies. When my wife returned from her coffee break, she appeared a little odd. She was furious with his ex and said that he deserved better. I recall telling her something along the lines of he's young and he'll heal in time, and she sounded disturbed. He needed time, she added, and whomever ended up with him would be extremely fortunate, and his ex was a fool to leave him. I may have misremembered some of what was said, but that was the core of it. She was short on facts and imprecise, but it didn't seem strange to me at the time. She seemed to be protective in the same manner that I would be protective of him as a friend. After that night, her conduct became more weird. She wasn't doing anything particularly obvious or suspicious, but she was evasive about what she was up to. She pretends she's going to visit one of her pals or run an errand. That kind of thing. I'm not a control freak, and she'd never given me cause to question her, so I didn't make a big deal out of it. And, to be honest, I didn't think it was all that unusual at the time. I saw my buddy was acting strangely as well, but I assumed it was due to his divorce and depression. I'd offer him to hang out, and he'd decline, which was odd. He never gave an explanation for his absence, other than the fact that he was busy. I began to see less and less of him, and when I did, he was different. I wouldn't say she was apprehensive, but she didn't seem to be at ease. He texted me and invited me to his place one day. He said that we needed to speak about some issues, and that he wanted to get some things off his chest. I drove over there with no suspicions. I knocked on the door, and he came running to answer it. I attempted to make some light talk and jokes, but he absolutely ignored me. He invited me into the living room, where I saw my wife seated on his sofa. I'm not sure whether I realized it at the time, but a sensation of dread began to wash over me. He plunged right in and informed me that there was no easy way to express what he was about to say, but he and my wife were in love and wanted to be together. I was really taken aback. For a time, I felt as if I wasn't even living. When I began to come to, they both attempted to apologize and express how much they loved me and regretted what had happened. They informed me that this had simply occurred and that they had not planned for things to turn out this way. They were aware that they were mistaken, but it didn't matter since they were madly in love. They both claimed that they had no intercourse and that it was just an emotional affair. I'm not sure whether that's true or not, but I'm not sure it matters. And that is really where we are right now. I've had additional messages from them apologizing and ones from my wife asking if I'm all right and assuring me she's here for me and still cares about me since that day, but I usually ignore them. They're also becoming less common. She made the decision to leave our home. I didn't ask her where she was going, but a buddy of mine informed me that as soon as she departed, she moved in with my former acquaintance. That happened only a few months ago. She came by the home a few days ago to get some stuff. I attempted to dodge her, but she asked if I needed a second. She informed me that she and a previous buddy are attempting to conceive. She wanted to warn me so that we could cope with it while we went through our divorce. She also wanted to tell me in person because she thought I deserved to know and hear from her. It stung so much to hear how quickly she's moved on. We wanted to have a family together, but she wanted to wait until she was 30. Now he'll get to be the father of her children, and I'll get to see her bear his kid. I'm here for whatever advice you can offer me. I'm at a loss on how to cope with her being pregnant. That, I believe, will be a challenge and cause of anguish once it occurs. I'm envious of him because he's living the life I wished for with her. I also know that her being pregnant is the last straw. There's no way we'll be able to reconcile after that occurs. I've pondered asking her to attempt therapy, but I'm not sure she'd be interested since she wants him and a life with him. I'm likewise at a loss as to how to comprehend everything. I'm not sure how they could both do something like this or how I missed it. I'm not sure why she left when we were so pleased. I'm not sure what I believe in anymore. If you can't trust your wife and closest friend, and a marriage doesn't endure with as much work as I put in, nothing is genuine, and life is all a huge lie. Sometimes life simply isn't fair. Update. First and foremost, I'd want to thank everyone who left comments and offered me notes of encouragement. The previous 4 days have been the most enjoyable I've had since my wife's departure. I feel like I can at least think about what happens next. I honestly don't know how to thank you all, but please know that your aid has been invaluable. I don't have much to report, but I thought you should be aware of a few developments. I've decided to contact my ex-friends to find out what her version of the split is. Nothing will come of it, but I suppose I should at least try to find out what else I can. I had spoken with one attorney but hadn't gotten serious about hiring one. Next week, I'll begin a real search for one. My friends and family have offered me some suggestions, so I'll go over them. I'm not sure when I'll start, but I'm very confident I'll sign up for some kind of therapy. I don't feel like my mental condition is very good right now, and I don't believe I have the means to pull myself out of this. I need assistance. I'm considering writing to my wife and an ex-friend. Many of you wondered why I didn't do anything to him when they informed me, which troubled me since I realized I never seized the opportunity to tell them how I felt and how they harmed me. Even if they don't care, I believe people should be informed. There were other more proposals about how to cope with the matter. I'm going to make some adjustments around my home to make it more comfortable for me until I can relocate. I'll also attempt to keep myself occupied, but the hardest thing so far has been evenings when I'm alone and it's silent, like it is now.